Now, what makes Scottish men so well dressed? Maybe it's something to do with our design talent. The fact Glasgow is the best retail shopping destination in the UK outside of London.
And earlier today, Scottish designer Patrick Grant unveiled his new menswear collection here in Glasgow. And as we like to look sharp here on the Riverside show, what are you laughing at?
Nothing.
We went to find out more.
My name's Patrick Grant. I'm the designer of Hammond & Co. at Debenhams, and I am here today to talk about the collection and meet all the wonderful people on the Riverside show. I grew up in Edinburgh, and Edinburgh was always a very conservative city. It was all about wearing your dad's old clothes and, you know, maybe a pair of brogues. And Glasgow was completely different. You know, Glasgow was always about fashion. It was always about something new. There was a great buzz about the city, and I used to come through here when I was, you know, in my late teens and go to the clubs in town. And you know, I remember, I think Glasgow was, somebody told me Glasgow was the first city outside of Italy to get a Versace store. And this is a city that loves its clothes, it loves its fashion. So the Hammond & Co. collection is really it's a tailoring-led collection. So at the heart of everything that we do, it's, you know, the lots of elements of classic menswear. So there are simple, beautiful coats that you can keep and wear for season after season. You know, the classic bits of menswear that for a long time I think men had stopped wearing, but all of a sudden young guys are rediscovering, like, you know, like a bow tie, like a waistcoat, just a simple navy trench. All the coats we have are, you know, pure wool fabrics. They're heavyweight, they're going to last, they're going to get better with wear. Hammond has a big sporting heritage, and what we've done is we've woven into that classic menswear quirkier, more interesting kind of elements of that sporting heritage, whether it's a tweediness or it's, you know, it's a flying duck or whatever it is. I think sometimes people look at me a bit funny when I sit in design meetings and say, look, you know, why did we do a jumper with 3 flying ducks? But I think there's something really pleasing to me about how well this jumper has gone, because I think it speaks to all that quirkiness of Britain. The great dressers of the past were men who knew how to wear 4 different patterns all at the same time. You know, a pattern in your suit, a pattern on your tie, your shirt, your handkerchief. Things that might have been found in your granddad's attic, you know, things like the classic Fair Isle tank top, an elegant sort of pick-and-pick tweed. And I think it's bringing all of those clothes back to life, referencing that really lovely, very elegant sort of 1910s, 1920s period of men's clothing. People pay much more attention to the way they dress now than I think they maybe did in the 90s, certainly, where it was very grungy, very dressed down. People, I think, are enjoying dressing up again. I think also people are enjoying, you know, there's a real renaissance in kind of British craft and British textiles. You can put 50 different bits of clothing on and you'll still feel freezing in this city. Layer it up, keep it, you know, keep it going, keep it wool though. Natural fibres, I think, always work best. And, you know, just enjoy it, all that pattern, all that colour, just throw it all together and have fun with it.
And even though he's from Edinburgh, we've invited Patrick Grant onto the sofa this evening. Welcome along. Thanks for coming in. What's your day been like in Glasgow city centre then?
It feels very Christmassy here in Glasgow. Everybody seems to be going for it. You know, Argyle Street's full of, you know, little grottos, and there's an ice rink, and there's probably a Santa's hat on the statue. And I mean, it just feels like the Glaswegians have embraced it earlier than they have in, you know, than in London. It's it's good out there.
We're loving our festivities.
Yeah, we do love Christmas.
Absolutely.
Any excuse for a party, really.
Pretty
to be quite
much.
honest with you, Patrick, that's what we like to do. Now, tell us a little bit more then about your Hammond collection.
Well, I mean, Hammond & Co. is a very old house. It was a house that dates back to the 1770s, and it was a sportswear house. It made for, you know, 4 successive British monarchs, and it made for all the kind of sporting elite of Europe. And you know, the collection today is very much about tailoring. It's based around the tailored pieces, but there's all sorts of fun bits and pieces in there, little details, little quirky bits, lots of, like, you know, ducks flying across jumpers, and, you know, there's a sense of humour about the clothes as well. But at its heart, it's about great quality, brilliantly made, sort of staple British classic pieces.
Fantastic. Important in every man's wardrobe, I suppose.
Yeah, the sort of stuff that, you know, you buy and you keep for 20 years. You know, a great, like, long double-breasted wool overcoat, or, you know, a classic sports jacket and a, you know, a really sort of beautiful tweedy fabric or something like that. Stuff that doesn't really date. but details that you can dress it up with.
Yeah, fantastic.
And blazers are the in thing now for guys, aren't they? They seem to have become more popular.
I think, well, these things, I think the clothing goes through big swings. Like the 90s, as I mentioned on the piece of film, the 90s people deliberately threw away their suits. There was all that kind of anti-Thatcher, anti-fat cat. The suit became a symbol of something a bit uncool, and all with the kind of cool Britannia was all about just chucking away all that formality and creating a totally new way of dressing. And the pendulum has just swung again. I think everybody's now bored of dressing like that all the time, and people are enjoying the art of putting an outfit together. Tie pins are back, hankies are back. I mean, who'd have thought that young men would be walking around Glasgow in the city centre on a Friday night wearing a bow tie? It seems madness, but that's that is it. There is a big swing back towards tailoring, as you say. Like, we can't believe how many waistcoats and Fair Isle tank tops. I mean, the sort of thing that your granddad would have worn on Christmas Day. Yeah. Like, it's a huge swing, and it's obviously we're really happy that that's happened.
Absolutely, you're loving a blazer as well,
Oh
David.
yeah, I love a blazer.
That's a lovely looking blazer today.
Funny that.
Yes.
Now, we'll talk quickly about the Great British Sewing Bee. How did you get involved with that?
Well, I was fortunate to be included in a documentary series about Savile Row, which ran, when was it? Probably like 2007, I think it was made. And it was a really big success, and it sort of transformed the fortunes of Savile Row. And on the back of that, I was involved in another documentary about Harris Tweed, which I think had a really positive effect on that industry. And the producers of the Sewing Bee and the commissioning editor of the Sewing Bee, she was the lady that commissioned that. So I think it was probably through that I became the sort of tailoring bloke that sat on the sofa on that one. But it's been a phenomenal success. I mean, we're one of the biggest shows on BBC Two, and 3 million people tune in every week to watch people sew on the telly, which seems, but I think that's just we've, I think as a nation we've become interested in so many more, different bits and pieces.
Absolutely.
It's, real stuff matters to us now.
It's very
Absolutely.
true.
Well, Patrick, it's fantastic having you on the sofa. Thank you very much for coming in to have a chat. Thank you.